Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the month when my channel becomes the Muteking channel to cover the third and most groundbreaking quarter of Muteking, the Dancing Hero. So we start off with episode 7, in which San Francisco is covered in disgusting black rain as a result of Muteki's past losses to Aurora, and we finally focus on the mysterious trans drag queen character Vivi. Vivi has been in the show since episode 1 and was the random owner of the arcade that Muteki and the other kids hang out at. If this was an American show, the character would just be a throwaway token gay character, but since this is an anime, she actually has a mysterious and currently unrevealed purpose. And that purpose is the focus of this episode, because this episode brings up about her mysterious backstory. It's quite epic. Anyway, so this episode is actually really dark. We start off with the fact that everyone is pissed at Muteking for losing to Aurora, making a fool of himself, and generally declining in quality of people liking him. Meanwhile, Aurora is growing in prominence, and at the same time, the dark cell phone company is observing the giant pool of melted humans that used to be the theme park, and from it, they are growing these creepy crystals. DJ and Muteki still can't get their new song together, so their grandma landlord randomly brings up a legendary pop star named DJ Baby, who used to be the world's finest pop star, but Muteki has never heard of him, and also he's been missing for several years. He goes to the arcade to ask the kids about him, but they imply that he disappeared and he's probably dead. So back at the diner, DJ, who's running his own adventure, tries to break into the basement of the diner where Aurora's equipment is, but Ida catches him and doesn't allow him to do it. So meanwhile, Muteki almost walks into his sister. His sister Naomi is on this cliff and she's up there scanning for aliens, and it seemed like Muteki and her were finally about to have a really substantial conversation, but suddenly she falls off a cliff and breaks every bone in her body. Just kidding, she's fine because it's a cartoon. Anyway, so Muteki came here to look for MC Baby with a fucking telescope? Muteki, that's the stupidest way to do it. You cannot find missing people just by looking off a cliff with a telescope. That's the main reason you can't find all those missing people in your life. Then they end up going to the beach in the winter, and DJ shows Muteki a bunch of porn he keeps on his Apple Watch, and they just run into Muteking there, and it's really awkward. So then they go to a disco called Paradise, where their landlord grandma is working as a DJ, and this is a whole thing. Also, in a random Easter egg, the grandma is rocking some Time Bokan headphones from the original Muteking. Those also appear in the opening too. Anyway, so grandma tells them to go to a very passionate place. So then we get a short montage of DJ and Muteki going bowling, bungee jumping together, and finally having a very super homoerotic bath together. Like, this is all kinds of like fan service. Anyway, so finally they come to the abandoned baseball stadium where the baseball team, the San Francisco Aliens, who have been referenced a few times in the show, apparently used to play, and they are out of business. DJ and Muteki walking into the stadium triggers some kind of weird time-space flashback bullshit where when they're in the stadium, they hallucinate that they're in the stadium 10 years ago, and since they're hallucinating that, they manage to watch a baseball game from 10 years ago that all their friends attended 10 years ago when they were kids. So apparently, 10 years ago, there was a dude named Buster Bowdy. He was the greatest hitter on the American baseball team. Everyone depended on him. After the flashback, they have a talk with Buster Bowdy that revealed he shattered his shoulder playing baseball, and eventually he could not do baseball anymore, and without him, the baseball team went out of business. But since Buster Bowdy felt bad about this, he wanted to keep the stadium working, so he reinvented himself as MC Baby, an artist very similar to the artist formerly known as Prince, who played very good Motown music. Apparently, Muteki actually attended a concert of his 10 years ago when he was a little kid, but forgot until now. So anyway, then Muteki breaks through the flashback and addresses MC Baby again directly. Apparently, he did this for a while until someone, implied with the subtext, it was probably the CEO, put the stadium out of business again. Having lost his beloved stadium twice, the man named Buster Bowdy, who renamed himself MC Baby, gave into the madness and despair of gender dysphoria, cut off everyone who ever knew him in his life, and was reborn again as Vivi the trans drag queen, owner of the local arcade. She and Muteki have a very, very bleak conversation about this life. And then we cut over to the kids at the arcade, who reveal that they are all orphans. The arcade is essentially their house. Vivi is their adopted mom, and she adopted them all the way back when she was still Buster, So in short, they're all kind of related, and they've all been lying to Muteki this whole time. Also, this is really weird because when Muteki's been going to the arcade, like, these kids have always been there because I thought they just hung out there, but no, they're literally there because it's their freaking house. So when Muteki's going over there to play the arcade games and hang out with them, it's like he's just walking into their house, which is like so comprehensively weird to me. It's like if you just barge into like some stranger's house to play like their video games, and eventually after a while you become their friends. Anyway, so Vivi also reveals in a massive twist that she has a living octopus tattoo on her back from a previous attack by one of the CEO's monsters. Also, the monster that attacked Vivi might be the CEO because it keeps saying great like he does. Anyway, I'm very baffled by whatever the fuck is going on with this living octopus tattoo and whatever the fuck it's doing to her. Like, is it going to kill her? Is it driving her insane? Did it already drive her insane? Is half the reason she gave up on being the world's most famous pop star to become a poor antisocial drag queen because of this thing? This episode really puts Vivi in like such a like crazy light. Like, it really shows her suffering, it really shows what she's going through. But when they like go into like all this crazy backstory that they have, like the way they imply with the story that she like used to be Prince. You guys know Prince, right? He used to dress up like a pirate. He changed his name a lot. He died a few years ago, but like after watching this episode, I halfway gotta consider that maybe he just changed his name one last time and is now living peacefully in retirement as a woman somewhere. Yeah, we can dream, right? Anyway, so Muteki asks Vivi for help writing his new song, and Vivi just refuses to help him and says she has nothing to teach him, and then pegs him with a baseball, which he catches, but it really hurts his fingers. Anyway, she says that if DJ and Muteki play baseball together, they will become better friends, which leads them to playing a father-son style game of Tetch, where they have a long talk, they address some of their issues. Muteki declares DJ as best friends, but DJ says that they're not there yet and they kind of gotta work on their dynamic more. And they have a good laugh while Vivi walks away, and meanwhile the disgusting octopus tattoo on her back pulses and looks just pure menacing. Anyway, so Aurora attacks San Francisco again at this point and forces several San Francisco hippie freaks to conform and become accountants before melting them down into black sludge to make another monster. Also, if you pay very close attention, one of the weirdos that gets melted down is trans and turns back into a man before she is melted down. Anyway, finally, DJ and Muteki show up on the new scene. They do a prolonged henshin sequence where we almost finally see DJ turn to the octopus. It's done off screen, but you see DJ go off screen and the octopus come on screen. Also, they point out that the octopus is definitely DJ in this episode, so there's like zero doubts at this point. Anyway, so they reveal their new song, and holy fuck, their new song is fucking insane. Okay, show, you really exceeded my expectations. This new show is hard-hitting, fast-paced, totally epic. It's pretty much a duet between DJ and Muteki, but it's super modern, and I guess I got my opening Orange Rain prediction wrong because, goddamn, this song slaps. So, the CEO has his monster defeated, he curses, he smashes a pot, and in the end of the episode, in a shocking twist, just vibing on how fucking cool the new song is, Muteki unmasks himself in front of the entire city. Holy shit, major consequences on that. Now, that was kind of the gayest episode of the season, but as usual with the show, they left things very confusing and vague to keep us wanting more and asking what the hell is going on. Like, what the hell is that black tattoo on Vivi? Like, is it alive? Is it a parasite? Anyway, we'll talk about that later. Let's just keep moving and go on to episode 8, Muteking mode. So in the next episode, Muteki is suddenly a famous star. He's appearing on TV doing an interview revealing that right after he revealed himself as Muteking, he fully took advantage of how famous and popular Muteking is. And anyway, then the show rewinds back to the moment Muteki revealed himself, and we start a pretty massive wave of Muteking fever again. DJ takes over as being Muteki's manager for this event and starts earning them a lot of money. He gets them a bunch of advertisement deals. He does a commercial for Pocky. He does a commercial for Cola. He and DJ appear together to sell gross energy supplements. The CEO is depressed and concerned about Muteki's rise, while Muteki and DJ just cruise around in a van ordering takeout sushi. He dresses up like a cop to eat a donut, then they eat some caramel corn, and DJ and Muteki have more inappropriate sexual tension. DJ decides that now that Muteki has a hit song, he can transform his own, which is a little silly considering the new song is a duet, but it ends up being used for pure comedy in this episode, so I approve. Anyway, so now with this cassette tape, he can transform into Muteking whenever he wants. So he starts doing public appearances in Muteking, and Muteki continues to sell out hard. Now, eventually Aurora comes back and does her epic song again, but since Muteki can now transform on his own, he starts massively killing Aurora's monsters, which have built up over the past couple of episodes. So Muteki's 2 songs hit the top of the charts. Muteki continues doing more publicity appearances. Another Aurora monster shows up and it starts doing some weird, creepy shit. It turns a TV host into a chicken. I think that's a bad Japanese pun though, that didn't work. Anyway, the CEO starts getting worried, so he deploys several monsters, and Muteki just pops them all like piñatas doing poses, and the CEO at this point starts to get really pissed. Muteki just starts doing the killing more and more stylishly, and everyone's really into it. Muteki also gets photographed by the paparazzi having sushi with his grandmother landlord lady, and the paparazzi implies they were on a date, which is not cool. So the paparazzi and the fangirls start to get really bad for Muteki, so he runs into Suteking, swaps clothes with him, and then Suteking gets all the fangirls, which he's totally fine with. Muteki wonders if he's doing the right thing, and then he goes back to the arcade to check on the arcade kids, and then he changes back into his normal clothes. The kids ask him if he ever met with MC Baby, but he doesn't give them a straight answer, which is justified since they were lying to him in the first place. But he plays video games with them all the same. Meanwhile, back at the diner, Ida is still doing her thing, and DJ is still trying to break into her basement to destroy her Aurora equipment. But it's not working out. Muteki goes to a fortune cookie teller. What? Anyway, he pulls a magic fortune cookie out and apparently becomes Super Ultra Lucky Boy, which means he can have anything he wants in the world. Muteki is not sure what to do with this, but the fortune cookie teller tells him that he can use the Super Ultra Mega Lucky Fortune Cookie to get any woman he wants in the world. So he decides he wants Ida, and he goes back to the diner to ask Ida out again. He starts getting very nervous and obsessive about asking Ida out on a second date, but since he's talking to himself, she hears him talking and accepts the date. He's completely shocked it was that easy because he allowed himself to go into a state of self-despair and pity after the last date got cut short, but Ida reveals she is not mad at him at all, she just went because she had to go. So now Muteki is fully happy with his life. He tells DJ that he's going to go on a second date with Ida again. DJ is super happy for him and promises him a barbecue dinner whenever he comes home. But holy shit, DJ is actually playing Muteki, and now that Muteki is taking Ida out, he can finally fulfill his sub-quest to break into the diner basement and wreck Aurora's equipment. So meanwhile, the CEO focuses on building a tower out of the theme park ruins, and Ida meanwhile goes on a second date with Muteki. They get ice cream, they buy hats, and finally they decide to walk over the Golden Gate Bridge and go to Sausalito. Meanwhile, while Ida is finally gone from the diner, DJ finally goes through with breaking into her basement, but it doesn't seem to go well. Back with Ida and Muteki, Ida is very impressed by the view over the Golden Gate Bridge, but Muteki is reasonably terrified because the Golden Gate Bridge is like 100 feet off the ground. If you fall off that bridge, you're dead. I've also walked over the Golden Gate Bridge, and Muteki is totally fucking justified. That bridge is completely terrifying, and it fills you with the sense that if you look down, you're gonna die. Anyway, Ida just starts singing a new Ida song, but since she's not in her Aurora persona, the song doesn't poison people, and everyone is just happy with it. Meanwhile, the CEO grows this disgusting-looking dildo tower over the spot where the amusement park used to be. Ida and Muteki finally declare each other boyfriend and girlfriend, and they almost kiss, but because this is a Japanese show, they're not allowed to. Meanwhile, Love Space by Tatsuro plays again, and a gust of wind stops Muteki from kissing Ida. He also asks her to clarify her relationship with DJ, and she says she has nothing to do with him. So Ida walks back to the diner, and when she gets there, the CEO is already there, and they are communicating and planning together. I guess he was in the basement and he beat the shit out of DJ because he reveals that his final plan is about to commence. So a bunch of evil fireworks go off to commemorate the finishing of the tower, and meanwhile DJ is tied up and beat up inside the CEO's office. I also think it's possible that there's a direct tunnel between the diner and the CEO's office. Maybe not. Anyway, so that brings us to episode 9, In the Dark, with no transition at all. It just goes straight from one episode to the other. So the CEO blows up the bridge connecting Alcatraz to San Fran and tells DJ to enjoy the show. The CEO says the tower will transform the world to his liking, so I wonder if he's saying that it's a terraformer machine or it's just a mass human killer. Anyway, the tower starts broadcasting Aurora's human melting songs onto literally every screen in San Francisco to kill as many people as possible. The helicopter guy is incredibly depressed to the point where it seems like he might crash his helicopter, and he goes off the air. Muteking catches Aurora on a TV and he starts to melt, but he's wised up to her by now, so he runs out of his house. Aurora comes in hard with another Dune song, and it's very aggressive. Muteking has left his apartment so he won't die from her music, and when he gets to downtown San Fran, this shit is just entirely black everywhere, and all the normal people are on the verge of death from being exposed to Aurora's music, which is being transmitted on literally every screen in the town. Her crappy pop music is literally lethal enough to genocide an entire city, and the tower starts just straight up shooting lightning bolts, exploding huge chunks of the city now that all the people are dead. It also creates a force field dome, and the CEO is hysterically happy about this. He's dancing around, and Muteking runs to Chinatown, where I think he was trying to get to the arcade, but it's been nuked from orbit, and it looks like a war zone. The story flips over at this point to cover Muteking's sister, who's been suddenly imprisoned in the jail part of Alcatraz. I guess even though the CEO built his base over Alcatraz, he somehow renovated it and kept the jail. Anyway, now when he discovers Muteking's father is also in the jail in the cell across from her, and her father is like way too chill about all this. He's just like straight up happy about everything. At this point, Muteking is the only human in San Francisco who's not either dead or dying, so he goes to the diner to try and rescue Ida, except instead of Ida, he rescues the fat sports bro who's a regular at the diner. He tells Muteking that Ida was taken away by the CEO, as well as DJ, and then we flip up to the helicopter guy again, who is having a private meeting with Muteking's landlord. It seems that they are up to something suspicious. Sports Bro gives Muteking a raft to get to Alcatraz. He only has a foot pump to blow it up, so it's going to take a while, and Muteking eventually gets bored and just steals another raft so he can go. Episode 9 is the first episode that really puts the focus on some of the other characters outside of Muteking and DJ. So we go back to Naomi, who's still talking to her dad, but fake Jerry the Mouse from a few episodes ago shows up in the jail with her and freaks her out hard. Her dad makes fun of her since she hunts alien for a living, but she can't handle mice. And then we go back to the arcade kids and Vivi. It seems like they all survived on the basis that Vivi had a bomb shelter under the arcade. She gives the kid a disco ball, which she says will protect them, and then she leaves them with no food and locks them underground. Meanwhile, Muteking has just managed to motorboat over to Alcatraz, and apparently while doing that, his tape player broke in the water, so now he can't turn into Muteking again, at least until he gets DJ back with him. Muteking's dad, meanwhile, sends Jerry to be useful, while Muteking goes all Metal Gear Solid, infiltrating the base. Meanwhile, upstairs, the CEO pours a wine glass full of melted humans for DJ and forces it down his throat while saying he's one of them. DJ spits out the melted human people sludge, and the two of them start screaming at each other, so the CEO just gets even more melted dead people and pours them down DJ's throat. We get a pretty weird flashback at this point that apparently DJ was born on Earth as an orphan human baby with the snout of an octopus. He had no parents, and he was bullied by other kids for his various appearance quirks that made him strongly resemble an octopus. At one point, some kids bullied him so much that he revealed his true nature as an alien octopus, and we don't get to see what that looks like, but weird. Anyway, the CEO says he's something far beyond a human and takes his heart, while also freeing him from human social pressure. At this point, DJ turns black, gets a freaky living octopus tattoo on his back, just like the one Vivi has, except his is possibly bigger, and declares that he is an Octian. Muteking breaks into the office building above Alcatraz and tries to get up the floors. He doesn't have security codes, so he ends up crawling through an elevator shaft or something like that. Jerry the Mouse, meanwhile, shows up to help him break through a crack in the wall, and he breaks through the crack right into the CEO's office and finds DJ, who is happy to see him, but also intensely corrupted by evil energy. God damn. Oh my god, there is so much to unpack in these episodes. So, Muteking has had a really, really interesting theme that cell phone companies are evil, pop music is evil, indie music is good, but listening to pop music will kill you. So, we finally, in this episode, get to the reveal that the CEO and DJ are definitely Octians. which brings up a major what the fuck question: what the fuck are Octians? So to answer this question, we have to contemplate one of the big questions of the new Muteking. Is this new Muteking a full sequel or a complete reboot to the old Muteking? I am currently leaning on the fact that this is a full sequel because of a single giveaway in the first episode that implied it was a sequel. Look back at the first episode. When Muteki first came to San Fran, things were a lot grayer. He was a lot grayer when he first arrived. Anyway, in the first episode, right after Muteki moves to San Francisco, he runs into Jerry the Mouse for the first time, and Muteki saves a random old woman from getting run over in traffic, who says that if she was only 50 years younger, she'd be all over Muteki. Why this matters is because 50 years ago in the old Muteking, there was an Octian lady who, despite being Muteking's enemy, kinda had the hots for him. She was impressed by his dancing, and she used to say really similar horny crap to that. Now, I think because she said that, and because her hairstyle is almost the same shape, I think these two characters are the same person, and that's the tiniest bit of connecting DNA between the old Muteking and the new Muteking. On top of that, the whole fact that the CEO and DJ are Octians. It was just too obvious. It was the structure of the old show, with the single good Octian creating Muteking and the several bad Octians trying to paint the town black. But I gotta wonder, so in the old show, the Octians were just straight up space aliens. I'm wondering if here there's more of a twist in the narrative in play, and the Octians have actually been reimagined to be like alien-human octopus hybrids. I'm also wondering if we're going to get a really crazy twist ending that actually a lot of the characters might be Octians. Because at this point, the only characters we know for sure who are humans are Muteki and his direct family, so his dad and his sister. Alright, so let's just do a quick rundown of all the characters who might be Octians. DJ is an Octian, obviously. The CEO and his people are all Octians too. And Ida is probably a robot, I'm pretty fucking sure. I don't know if Vivian is an Octian. She might be. I'm like 50-50 on the fence about her. I say that she might be because I don't know how those Octian tattoos work. DJ got an Octian tattoo after being forced to eat melted down human sludge. Vivi has one from the vague fight with the CEO in his Octian form. I don't know what the tattoos freaking are. Are they just symbols? Are they poison? Are they something that only the Octians get? Are they like Octian human symbiotes? Are they lethal to normal humans? I have a billion questions about the octopus tattoos. Like, are the octopus tattoos the Octians? Like, I am boggled here. The other thing in episode 9 is that there's a fallout shelter under Vivi's arcade, and they keep showing it from a weird outside perspective that if you freeze frame and kind of look at it, it kind of looks like it's a UFO. That's strong evidence that Vivi is an alien, but what if Vivi's not an alien? If she's not an alien, I think it's way more likely it's her kids. Her kids are maybe aliens. Like, what is up with the deal with those kids? Like, at first I didn't notice that they were weirdly off-colored, but yeah, all her kids are like weirdly colored, like they just walked off the Doug Funny show. Plus the fact that they're all orphans, and it was confirmed in this episode that DJ is an Octian, and because of that, he was an orphan too. So, since they're orphans, does that also mean they're Octians? Plus, the final, most obvious clue that these guys are Octians is the fact that the fat girl in the group has these little octopus earrings. Did anyone else notice that? So, besides that, what the hell's up with Muteki's landlord and Helicopter George? Are they Octians? It seems like they're up to something, like they have some part in this. Now, it is easy to say that they're just aliens too, but honestly, I don't think so. There's something off about them in a different way. They definitely know more than they're getting into. Alright, well, anyway, I was hoping we'd finally get some real answers in this episode, but they're still playing it fast and loose with what they tell us and what they don't. It seems like in the next episode, DJ and Muteki are going to have this epic showdown, but I think the show is going to undercut your expectations and they won't actually fight. But at the same time, I don't think DJ will go back to normal either because he is corrupted and evil right now. Either way, I think the focus of the next episode is going to be Muteki trying to figure out that Ida is a robot finally, because that's been hanging for too long, and now that they're finally boyfriend and girlfriend, it seems like the time to do it. Well, goddamn, these were some hefty freaking episodes. Muteking is really, really doing it. I am very, very intrigued with the show. Once again, if you guys are enjoying Muteking, just remember that all cell phone companies are trying to kill you. All pop musicians are sellouts. Like, did you ever see that old Harry Partridge cartoon, the Justin Bieber show, about how, like, Justin Bieber sold his childhood to like these like turn of the century British plague gods. Anyway, that's the deal with all pop stars. Pop stars are just fully corrupted individuals who sold all their integrity for fame and fortune. I mean, it's not like every single pop star is evil, but definitely the ones that are like just doing it for corporate reasons, like, you know, like all those fabricated boy bands that like work for Verizon or whatever. Those are the ones you gotta look out for. Anyway, yeah, that's the theme of the show. Alright guys, that was me, Buster Green, and I will be back, I guess, at the end of Muteking to do my final breakdown for the last 3 episodes. I hope you guys have been enjoying Muteking. I know I have. I've been really, really surprised by it. Alright guys, I will check you guys out later, and good luck. Bye!